One of the substantial powers that Congress has is the ability to declare war. So remember, it's Congress's responsibility to declare war. A majority vote of both houses of Congress is necessary for a formal declaration of war. But if you look at this chart, you may be surprised to see that of all of the military conflicts we've had in American history, we've only had 5 declared wars. They're the ones in the red boxes. The ones in the blue were actually military conflicts in which the president took us into war or military conflict without getting a formal declaration of war. A lot of people have looked at this as an issue. So, bottom line is that it's Congress's responsibility, according to the Constitution, but the president has often decided to take the country into military action without getting a formal declaration. So you'll notice, especially in the modern era, 2 pretty controversial wars, Korea and Vietnam, in which they were actually undeclared wars. Congress never actually signed off on a war declaration, despite a very lengthy conflict in Vietnam. In response to the undeclared military conflict, Congress passed in 1973 something called the War Powers Resolution. This was meant for Congress to sort of like reclaim its ability to approve like military conflict and restrict the ability of the president to take us into long military conflicts without getting this approval from Congress. Basically, what this says is that the president has 48 hours to notify Congress after taking any kind of like military action. And then at that point, Congress can decide whether or not they want it to continue. Without a formal approval or a declaration of war from Congress, it could only last for 60 days. So this puts specific limits on the president. It recognized the fact that the president might not always be able to get a formal declaration of war from Congress for taking military action. Sometimes it requires quick action, but that if it's going to be something that's going to last for a long time, the president has to inform Congress of what he did, why he did it, what his plan is. And at that point, Congress can then decide if it's going to continue for a long time. And if Congress is not going to give its approval, again, we're looking at a maximum of 60 days.